Hello, this is my presentation on social in second assignment about the characteristics of Australian English by Torres Molina Micaela. This presentation I'm going to give an introduction on the characteristics of Australian English. I'm going to talk about the history and the languages that are spoken in Australia, the Australian accent and pronunciation, the Australian English and dialect subgroups, the ethnocultural Australian varieties, the Aboriginal Australian English, and also the source, which is one of the most widely spoken languages in the world, exhibits a fascinating diversity of regional variations and accents. Among these, Australian English stands out as a distinct and captivating variety, shaped by the unique history, culture, and geography of the Australian continent. From its distinct accents and pronunciation to its rich vocabulary, slang, and colloquialism, Australian English offers a vibrant and distinctive linguistic complexity that reflects the nation's heritage and identity. In this presentation, I will dig into the features that set Australian English apart from other forms of the language, including accents, history and accent change, subgroups, and Aboriginal English. Australian English can be described as a new dialect that developed as a result of contact between people who spoke different, mutually intelligible varieties of English. The very early form of Australian English will have been first spoken by the children of the colonists born into the early colony in Sydney. The children in the new colony will have been exposed to a wide range of different dialects from all over England, but mainly the southeast, particularly from London. Although English is the national language of Australia, Australians speak around 300 different languages, including Mandarin, Arabic, Vietnamese, and many indigenous languages. A language is constructed by a number of different dialects, each having its own characteristics of vocabulary, grammar, idiom, and pronunciation that are different from other varieties. Australian English is known for its distinct accents and pronunciation. Some key features include the pronunciation of the R sound in words like car, typically pronounced as car. The use of non-rhotic speech, the R at the end of words is often not pronounced, and the vowel shift, where certain vowel sounds are pronounced differently from other English varieties. Australians often use colloquial language in everyday speech. This includes slang terms, abbreviations, and unique expressions that might not be readily understood by speakers of other English varieties. For instance, "arvo" means afternoon, and "brekkie" refers to breakfast. Australians are known for their frequent use of diminutive forms of words, where they add certain endings to words to create a shortened, affectionate version. For example, swim becomes swimmy and mosquito becomes moosey. There are three major dialect subgroups of Australian English. Standard Australian English, which is the dominant dialect and is used by the vast majority of speakers, Australian First Nations variety of English, and ethnocultural Australian varieties of English. Speakers of Standard Australian English do not all sound the same. There are regional differences, age-related differences, and social differences. In the past, accent variation in Standard Australian English was described with reference to a continuum of broadness, ranging from the most local type, a broad Australian, through to a more British-sounding type, the cultivated Australian. An intermediate category, General Australian, was the most common type. Mainstream Australian English is the principal dialect of Australian-born citizens, but is also used by the vast majority of migrants who arrive during childhood or early adolescence when local peer influence is maximal. Ethnocultural varieties of Australian English are minority dialects. They contain features of mainstream Australian English combined with some non-English language features. In this chart, we can see some information about the migration to Australia between the years 2013 and 2015. In 1788, at the beginning of a permanent white settlement in Australia, there were at least 200 mutually and intelligibly indigenous Australian languages. Today, over half of these are no longer spoken. Aboriginal English is a content variety including regional varieties spoken across Australia. Australian English has incorporated words from indigenous Australian languages, especially in relation to flora, fauna, and place names. These words have enriched the language's lexicon. Australian English has borrowed words and phrases for Aboriginal languages as well as from other languages due to its diverse cultural makeup. It also has its own unique slang and idioms known as strained. For example, mate is a common term of address and barbie refers to barbecue. All the sources from where I've taken all the information for my presentation. I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you.